Busy, you don't think too much. You know,
Yes.
see, I was telling somebody,
Yeah.
physical strain makes you at the end. Physical hard work makes you strained at the end, or mental work. See, generally, if you do more work, people will think because of more work we get tired. You don't get tired because of work generally. So whatever capacity you have, you do normally within that capacity. So you will generally be active if you are doing hard work. You do entire day, then still body allows you to do more.
That's true.
But if you are mentally agitated, that is you're annoyed with the work that you got, and you're not happy with your boss, or you're not happy with something else, then naturally what happens is you get strained without doing much work.
That's true.
That is what is yoga.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yoga is doing your job efficiently is yoga.
Mm.
Yoga is doing your job peacefully and efficiently. So if your mind is peaceful, you are you will do better work and efficient work. You will be able to think more. That is what you will be able to think, not many thoughts. Think with clarity. That's how.
Mm. Mm.
So let me share my screen and come to our subject. If
All
you are
right.
ready,
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
welcome. So we need to have that lighter moment before starting into a serious topic always. If you say
Yeah.
yes, happy, then we can get into serious topics.
Okay. I hear
Right.
you.
Yeah. Right. We were talking about competencies of a business analyst. Competencies are categorized into 6 categories. One is analytical thinking and problem solving skills, which we discussed yesterday. Behavioral skills, there are 5 skills in that, 5 competencies. Business knowledge, there are 5 competencies. Now we'll talk about the communication skills, interaction skills, and tools and technologies. Communication skills, as you know, are very, very, very important. Everybody knows it, no? You should be able to communicate. We, as human beings, we are, unless we communicate, we cannot survive in the social life. You have to communicate. You have to always communicate, even if it is not human beings. Any life on this earth will be communicating. Can you tell me when you start communicating early? I mean, at what point you start communicating? Soon after your birth. Can you tell me when you start communicating with the world? Fola, choice to you.
And so the question was when I start communicating where?
With the world, with outside
Um,
world. And
well,
when do you start communicating after your birth?
after my mom gave birth to me, is that what the question was?
The question that I have is when do you start communicating with the world? You have to communicate, right? Your communication should start. So when does the communication start?
As soon as I
You
came to the world.
sorry, the second you born.
Yes.
If you got this answer, you're right. You're right, actually. The moment the moment you are born, you are communicating. How do you communicate?
I cried like any other
Ah,
baby.
you cry, you cry. You cry indicates that you are present in this world, first point. That you are signifying your existence to the world, to people around you. You are signifying that you are alive, you are a normal baby. If you don't cry, what happens? That is another indication.
They
If the
leave
baby
you,
doesn't cry,
they leave you in the hospital. They don't take you home.
yeah, so immediately they'll be everybody around you are worried. So
Yeah.
okay. Okay. So the communication starts. as early as you are born. In fact, to say before you born also, you communicate with your mother. You hit your mother, you do whatever. So with that, you would be knowing, and even in when the mother is pregnant, in even in the womb, you communicate. But with the external world, you start communicating soon after you are born. So that's how the communication starts. In the communication that you do, there is something called verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So there are percentages which says how much is verbal communication, how much is non-verbal communication, how much is written communication. Can you tell me how much percentages could be there approximately, if you can? I'll in the meanwhile I'll pick up. I have picked up somewhere what would be the percentages. Can you try out? Try if you want to try. How much would be the percentage verbal communication, non-verbal communication? Yeah, sorry, verbal communication. There are three things here: verbal communication, written communication. You read, you write, you actually speak. These are the things. What is the verbal communication that you have? What is the non-verbal communication you have? These are the two things: verbal and non-verbal. How much percentage would be verbal? How much percentage would be non-verbal communication? Approximately.
You have where?
Yeah, when you are talking to people, when you are communicating, see now you are not seeing me. That's a major problem. When if you see me, you will be able to see the communication. Apart from verbal communication, there is non-verbal communication that goes on. So whenever you are talking, your verbal communication is some percentage, and your non-verbal communication is also there. So that is a thing that you should know how much percentage you would be talking. Verbal communication is how much percentage, non-verbal is how much percentage is what I'm asking. Approximately. Anyway, I will just try to Google it for you. There are some percentages. You just give me some guess, so that we can have the percentage compared with what people talk about. I am just looking for the graph. How much percentage could be verbal communication? How much percentage could be non-verbal communication?
I'm thinking it's 50-50. I don't know.
Okay, I want to hear. Is it Ifi who said, or
Yeah.
yeah, 50-50 you are saying? Fola, you have any figure in mind?
I'm sorry, I have no figure in mind. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. One second. See here. This is what I'm looking for. Around 60%, 58 or 60% would be non-verbal communication. See here, he has given what is your voice, tone, body language. 55 to 55% is body language. That is non-verbal communication. 38% is your voice and tone, how you mention, how you speak. When you are explaining, suppose if whatever I want to communicate, if my voice is very harsh and I am getting angry very fast, so can you understand what I'm saying? You start looking at why this fellow is getting angry. So the same way, how much the spoken words is 7%. 38% on your voice and tone, 55% is your body language. You got it, Fola? You understood?
Yes.
So your majority of what you say is it gets weighed along with your how you are saying it. The tone in which you are saying is one aspect. That's where people say email is a dangerous tool. It's a very good tool, but it's a dangerous tool. You know why? I write something. Now my mail comes to you. When you are reading the mail, how do you read that mail? You read in an imaginary tone. Whatever you think I would be talking about. See, I can say a simple statement. Please listen to me. You can that statement. Please listen to me. is another tone you can read. You can read in any pitch that you want. So it depends upon, though I have told it very politely, but you may read it in a tone which is very harsh. So how, when you are reading the email, how you are reading, depending on that, your understanding of my email communication depends. The same way, when I am talking, if I, depending on the tone that I use, depending on the way that I express, your understanding would be there. So if we are physically seeing each other, so then my non-verbal communication would be more to communicate to you what I am trying to represent. So generally, even if I don't want also, my non-verbal communication would be going on. If you can voluntarily control that non-verbal communication, you will be able to communicate better. Have you got this point? You got the
Yes.
point? Okay,
Yes.
right. Now, so let us go through one by one. Verbal communication. What is this verbal communication? Used to convey ideas, concepts, facts, and opinions to stakeholders. So this verbal communication is whatever you want to communicate. You are communicating your ideas, concepts, whatever. But non-verbal communication enables sending and receiving messages through body movements, postures, facial expressions, gestures, and eye contact. Whenever you are trying to communicate something, you should be how do you address a large crowd? Fola, you got this question anytime? When you are before a large audience, now you are supposed to speak. So how do you communicate? How do you? There is something called eye contact. Normally, people say when you are talking to any crowd, anybody, your eye contact should be there. Suppose we are in front of each other and we are talking. If my eye contact is there with you, your understanding would be much better compared to if I look at the sky or look at your feet. So I should not look at some other place and talk to you. Then you will not be interested in me much. So if my eye contact is good, then my communication would be much better. Have you understood this? Have anybody told about eye contact? When you are, anytime you heard about eye contact, how it should be?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So eye contact should be there is what you are saying. When you are talking about eye contact should be there, and how you should have eye contact when you are talking to a large audience. How do you need to have uh, you understood what I'm saying? How do you need to? I'm just trying to place the PPT as well as I want to look at you. Right now, when I open the PPT, I'm seeing PPT only. I'm not able to see your. If somebody is responding, I'm just trying to adjust that. That's okay. I'll adjust later. Okay. Now, what I'm looking at is if you are before audience, before a large audience, how do you maintain eye contact? So people say you have to maintain eye contact, but how do you maintain contact with so many people? So generally, it is said, if you want to maintain eye contact, you can't maintain eye contact with everybody. So that's the reason people look at the sky. That's not a right thing. You look at one person at a time. So when you are saying one statement, you look at one person. You are saying the second statement, you go to another person and look at that person's eye. So that's how you maintain the eye contact when you are talking to large audience. So if you are able to maintain eye contact with a few people like that, automatically it is taken as eye contact with the entire audience. It is audience will automatically get it. That you don't need to worry. So you just need to maintain eye contact with few of your audience. So you need to say you can when you are just looking at, suppose you are looking at left side, somebody will be looking at you. No, all audience are not looking at you. That means that you are not talking well. If you are talking well, automatically few people will be looking at you. Now you change that to right side. Someone else in right side will be looking at you. So then that you look at the any one of those persons, you start getting the eye contact. So that solves the problem. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Right. So now there is something called written communication. I was talking about email also. Practice of using text, symbols, models, pictures, or sketches to convey and share information. Written is even a normal written communication. What you are seeing here also is a written communication which you are visually seeing it. So written communication, I send by mail, I send by some other means. So you will be able to see that written communication is also possible. Now, but what happens with written communication, I have already told. So when I send a mail to you, the reading will be in a gesture that they think about imaginary tones will be there. So that with the imaginary tones, they will be reading the mail. So you have to be very cautious when you are writing a mail. If your mail itself, if your sentence itself is harsh, so naturally that fellow will read, the other person will read it with much more intensity. So that's where email communication actually, what you intend to express, what actually the other person receives, there will be a lot of difference. So in case you have a doubt, it is always safe to call them and tell them that what you actually meant. Oh, got it? Paula,
Yes.
have you
Yes.
faced any time this problem?
No.
No. You intended to say something, people have understood something else.
No, I don't have that problem.
Okay, people understand what you said. You are great then.
I mean,
Yeah, but
in a professional setting, I don't have that problem. But in my normal day-to-day interaction with people outside my profession, yeah, I say some things and it's misunderstood. But when I'm in the office, I'm very careful how I construct my whatever I need to communicate.
yeah, and the other problem is when you are generally you hit sometimes when you don't want to hit the mail send button, it gets hit. You would not have been totally prepared to send it, but mail goes. So you should be careful about that also. Sometimes if you are reading your mail second time, third time, and then you are sure that it will not mean anything different, it will be safe. But these are all I am talking about serious mails, not casual mails. Casual mails, you will have its own repercussions in friendly environment. That's a different thing. But when you are talking about business communication and serious mails, you have to be very careful about the mail, how you write, and it is always safe to read it once more before you actually send it, because that send button is a problem. So send sometimes I don't know in Outlook settings and all, you can always set if you are using Outlook, delivery of the mail need not be immediate. So you can set it say 1 minute gap or something like that, so that even if you have done a mistake, if you realize after sending, you can go back and correct it. You got it? What I said?
Okay, I didn't know we could actually do that. Can you show us how to? Do you have Outlook?
Outlook I don't have right now.
Okay,
In a-
I have to look at it tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
explore that. You don't need to see the moment you send whether mail should go immediately after you send it, or it should go after some time. That is in your out. It will be waiting in your outbox for that time. So that's what you need to look for. Okay, you check it in case you have a doubt. I'll show it sometime
No,
later.
it's okay. I'll look at the settings when I get
You
to the
can.
office tomorrow. I'll look
Yeah,
at the settings.
you can look at that. And listening, you heard of this listening and hearing. Hope you know the difference. You all should be knowing the difference between hearing and listening. What is the difference between hearing and listening?
Are you asking
If
me?
sorry,
Hearing,
yeah, anyone
hearing,
can ask. Yeah,
hearing is just hearing the
yeah,
voice of or hearing what the person is saying. But
that's right.
listening is paying attention to detail, as in to what the
Right.
person is saying.
Right. Listening. When you see, when you listen, that time you are trying to understand what the other person is saying. So if you are able to understand, it is called listening. If you are just hearing, you hear many sounds around. but you don't grasp all the sounds, because when I'm talking here, you may be hearing some many sounds than what I'm talking around you also. So your focus, when your focus is onto what I am saying, you will be understanding what I am saying. But if your focus is not there, your focus is onto some other sound, you may not be able to understand what I am saying. Though you are hearing what I'm saying, but you may not be able to comprehend what I am saying. So that's how it goes. Communication skills are very, very important for a business analyst. So it is the ability to communicate properly. That's what is important. Ability. How do you communicate? How do you receive? See, if you are asking proper question, you will get proper answer. So many majority of times when you are trying to elicitate the requirements of a stakeholder, you should be able to ask right questions, and you should be able to communicate it properly. While asking the question also, if your face is angry, so the other person, or if your face is showing some gesture which is wrong for the other person, which is offending for the other person, whatever the other person wants to tell, also they don't tell. So they get annoyed by your facial gestures, your non-verbal communication. So your tone also. So you have to be very careful when you are presenting it. And again, they also look at your maturity in asking questions. So if you are very young and you are trying to ask some questions just for asking sake, people get irritated. So you have to understand the topic. You should do some exercise, some work on that before you present it. How do you overcome this? These are all the challenges. They say there'll be many constraints that you face. So when you are meeting stakeholders for business analysis, definitely you face all these challenges. You are supposed to overcome these challenges one by one. You should know what is your limitation and work little. Like you may not be knowing the subject. You are very new to this. So then you present it. If you are true to yourself, that is trustworthiness. Somewhere we have seen that trustworthiness is there. Automatically, people will love and people will express. The important skill in all these things is you ask a question and you don't listen to them, then the person will lose interest. So how do you say that you are listening to a person, Fola? How do you? So now I am saying listening. How do you make the other person understand that you are listening?
By keeping an eye contact with them.
That's one thing, right? But some people keep eye contact, but still
No,
they don't listen.
they're not listening.
So,
Uh, that's true.
so what do we do that time? Still you have to listen, right? You have to. The other person will easily get. If you are not focusing on them, the other person will easily understand that you are not focusing on them. So how do we express that you are listening to them? You there are many things. One is eye contact. Second is this all these things are there, no? At least you are expressing that you are listening. At the end of every sentence or two, three sentences, you say, yes, I understand. That kind of thing. Yes, I feel. So that reverse communication, if it is there, you are expressing. One is eye contact. Second is you are nodding your head. You don't need to say make sound also. You are nodding your head also. Makes the other person feel that you are receiving. And sometimes after that, at the end of the communication, if the other person has stopped saying what they are saying, if you are asking a question relevant, or you just say thank you, you like what you normally express. So thank you, I could understand this. This is very nice. So that communication also makes the other person feel comfortable, right?
Right.
So these are all known things only, but why these are expressed is basically these are all structured way of looking at what you have to do. Generally, we think okay, they're all we all know it, but you may not be knowing the intensity of each of these things. What is the intensity of verbal communication? What is the intensity of non-verbal communication? What is the intensity of written communication? what is the intensity of listening that it creates for the stakeholders. These are all what are the important things in communication skills. This competency is very, very, very important for any of, either it is business analyst or project managers. They say project managers spend around 90% of the time in communication only. Are you clear what I said?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Project
So
manager has to, yeah.
I wanted to add something to on communication. So personally, when I'm interacting with people like stakeholders, and the
Mhm.
first thing I want to know, I it doesn't take me too long. I study their communication style. Because
Mhm.
when you said like when you're communicating, the only, and I said by keeping an eye contact, that's how I communicate with people. I don't
Mhm.
do I don't do body, I don't make expressions, I don't do or like you said. Because if
Mhm.
I'm talking to a stakeholder, like personally, when people are talking to me in the office, I
Mhm.
just stare at you, I'm looking at you. I'm not
Mhm.
making any expression. I'm not saying anything because I'm really listening to you because I know this is business. I need to understand everything you're saying. And then I have some stakeholders too that when I'm talking to them, they just want you to just be very quiet, especially these top executives. They want you to be very quiet until they finish saying what they want to say. And then if you have
Mhm.
questions, the only way they know that you really understood what they have communicated to you is your ability to ask them a question or say something at the end of the speech. So
That's
personally,
right.
for me, communication, the first thing I want to do is I want to know your communication style. And that's how I'm going to relate to you. And I expect like people that work with me too, they already understand my communication style and that's how they relate with me when they're talking to me.
That's right. That is another important thing that you should see when the whether other person is getting annoyed with your, even you are making sound like "ooh, ah," also makes the other
Yeah.
person annoyed.
Yes,
You have
yeah,
to be
I
careful
personally
about
will not like it when I'm
it.
talking in the office and you're making sounds while I'm talking. I won't
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. Okay. These are all different face listening. Actively, you are looking at the other person. So then you don't need to make any sounds or anything. How do you express that? If it is a long speech, somebody is giving a long speech, then in that case, in between, you may have to either by noting down some points or by looking at the person, expressing that your interest. You can express with not alone making sound. You have different ways to express that you are interested. Your eye contact, how active is your eye contact also makes a lot of difference, right? So sometimes a small smile, if the person's whatever he has told has made you feel happy, you can always express that. So that with non-verbal communication, lot of expressions that sort will go. So that is the understanding. Even in business communication also, business communication does not mean you have to be very serious throughout, because sometimes being too serious, you may not be able to understand what the other person is saying. So that is very important. So in the entire this communication skill, it is how you can understand depending on your environment, depending on your culture also. Sometimes culture also makes a lot of
Yes.
difference. No.
Yeah,
So
I was
instead
I was going to
of
I was going to say that
that's
your
your culture.
communication, I was going to say that your communication, business communication is also a
Mhm.
function of the culture of the company.
Culture. That's
Because I've worked in a Japanese in a company and that's
mhm.
very, very formal, strictly formal. So
Formal.
the culture is different when I was working with the
That's
Japanese
right.
people. But then when I'm working like in an American company, it's a different culture. Then you can
Culture.
relax a little. It's kind of business informal.
Informal. That's right. So they are not very formal.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
you
That's
have to also
right.
consider the culture of the
Culture.
company.
That's right. That's right. Good. So hope you got this. There are 4 competencies in this: verbal, non-verbal, written, listening. So these are the different ways the communication skills should be improved. Now, interaction skills. Interaction skills include ability to relate and relate to and cooperate and communicate with the different kinds of people. You should be able to relate to people when you are communicating. So now, when you are able to, the interaction is how you talk to people, how you cooperate, how you work with them, how you, like what you said. So whatever communication that you make, depending on the situation, the environment, how you communicate is your interaction skills. So now interaction is two-way. It's not one way anyway. Now ability, there are different ways that you interact. What are the different competencies? One is facilitation. Second is teamwork, leadership and influencing, negotiation, teaching. So these are the ways that you interact with people. Interaction also happens from childhood. By the time you start communication, your interaction has happened. So facilitation basically means ability to you whenever there is a meeting happening. So normally what happens if you don't have a facilitator or moderator in a meeting, what happens? Generally the meetings will be chaotic. If nobody is taking lead and saying that this is what we want to discuss, we'll follow the agenda. This is the time that we want to follow. So these things, if somebody is not moderating, or if somebody is allowed, everybody is just casual and the discussion goes somewhere else. So if nobody is moderating, that entire meeting may not be in a proper way. So in any group, if you are able to moderate it well, then your entire the whatever you output you wanted to get because of the meeting, that will be possible. So you should know how to facilitate. First of all, getting for the meeting itself is getting for the meeting, arrangements in the meeting, and how who should sit where, how each one should communicate. Agenda is prepared. So this entire thing is a facilitation. You are moderating any discussion for a group, that is facilitation. For any interaction, facilitation is the primary thing and which is very important. Skill to have. Now, next is the teamwork. We were talking about collaboration earlier. So teamwork is that only. So normally what people give example of football. You know football, have you seen football, Fola? Football, are
Yes.
you a fan of football?
No, sorry.
Okay, but still observe how football happens. If
Yes.
a ball comes to me, if the ball comes to me, if I try to hit the goal, see my fame and everybody in football thinks that they should put the goal because that's where their name would come. If a player thinks that he has to put the goal, then they will not win. Definitely, because majority of times, if I am interested in putting the goal myself, I cannot carry the ball up to the goal post. If I am working with the team, it is if I get that in mind that it is not my win that is important, it is the team's win. You will get if team wins, automatically you also win. In football, especially, you have to pass on the ball to the other person, says that that person will pass on to someone else, and it may come to you again. So, with the teamwork, you will be able to take the ball up to the goal post, and you put the goal. The moment team wins, you are in limelight. All of you are in limelight. But if you are ensuring that if you are trying to put goals yourself, it is literally impossible for you to, unless even if you are if you have got great skill, it is not possible for you to take the ball to the goal post always. So that's where they say when the ball comes, you should not retain the ball with you. You should pass on as fast as possible, such that it progresses. That's how the teamwork is. You should do the work in such a way that you collaborate with others and you look for the common goal and achieve that goal. So that's what is very, very important in important skill that you should have. So that's one interaction skill. Like passing on the ball is an interaction. The moment ball comes, all your team members will be looking at you. So to whom you pass on, you just pass on. The other person will pick it up. He will pass on to somebody. The same way you are looking at when the ball is with someone else. You are looking at when it comes to you how you should react and where you should be positioned. So like that, if teamwork is that way, so you are looking at helping others and helping yourself. So that entire thing becomes a teamwork for a common goal. Now, the other skill is leadership and influencing. So, anywhere you should be, it involves motivating people to act in ways that enable them to work together. See, it's not alone you doing things. You should automatically, whether you have a title or not, you should be able to lead the team. You should be able to influence others, other people. So, leadership comes with that only. Leadership is something that nobody need to tell you that you are a leader. Leadership is something automatically comes. So you should pick it up. When a chance comes, you should be able to lead. You cannot look at who is going to lead. So the moment you start looking at others to lead, then automatically you are not the leader. Someone else becomes the leader. Leadership is something that whether you are called as a leader or not, you can always lead. You should be able to influence people. So that's a skill. That's a good interaction skill. So when you are one is facilitating is a skill, teamwork is a skill, leadership is another skill, leadership and influencing is another skill, negotiation is another interaction skill. How do you negotiate with others? So for whatever you want to get, so you should be able to negotiate. Negotiate basically means it is mediating the discussions, resolving differences in teams. So negotiation basically means what you want to get for your team or what the other person has to get. So it's a if somebody is asking for something, you're negotiating. Anything for that matter. So you're negotiating how things should happen, you negotiate. Like with the customer, you negotiate. For what you negotiate, customer asks for something, some requirement, and how it should be delivered is what you are negotiating. You are putting your point, how you want to deliver that particular solution, and customer should be able to agree to that. So that's a negotiation skill, right? Any doubts on negotiation, please? If you are able to understand. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, you are able to understand what is negotiation. Have you negotiated with anybody anytime?
Yes.
When have you negotiated?
I'm actually running some business.
Oh,
Like,
excellent, excellent. You will have a lot of negotiations.
yeah,
What kind of business? If you are okay,
food,
can we know
food.
what kind of business?
It's food business. Food.
Food business. Yes, yes. So there will be a lot of negotiations. Negotiation with vendor. So you want to get your raw material for food at a lower price, or you want to get a good quality of raw material. So you negotiate for all those things. And teaching for a business analyst, teaching is a good skill that you should have. When how do you teach? You have to you if you have knowledge about what is it, you will be able to teach others. So teaching will keep group together with you. Even if your customers, if you are able to teach something that they don't know, they'll get attracted to you. So that's an important skill that you should have. And the important thing is there is one statement that Einstein has given, saying that if you can't explain the topic such that a five-year-old child can understand, if you can't make it in such a way that a 5-year-old can't understand, that means you have not done enough work. You have not understood it enough. Have you got this, Polar?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, this is one important statement. If you can't teach it to a very unknown person or a small child like 5-year-old, if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, that means you are not understood the concept enough. If you have understood the concept enough, you will have ways and means how you can express it to anybody who doesn't know. So that is teaching. Teaching basically is it is not just reading something that is there. Teaching is something how you articulate in such a way that even a novice will understand easily. That's what is the thing. So this skill, what happens? Why does a business analyst need to know about teaching? Any requirement that business analyst has got, first is paraphrasing. I was telling you, you should paraphrase it. You should put in such a way that what you understood about that requirement, rather how you understood it. So if you are able to paraphrase it and the customer acknowledges that the statement is correct, that means you are in sync with them. Certain times your solution you may have to explain to the customer. So solutions are sometimes it will be complicated. So you should be able to present it in such a way that customer is able to understand what you are trying to do. That's where you require all teaching skills. So interaction skills is it is like with the other persons, almost one to one. You are interacting. Interaction skills are very important for business analyst. How you present yourself. It's not alone communication. Communication happens many times anyway. But how do you interact with the other person? Because it depends upon how the other person reacts to whatever you do and how you manage that situation. So that is what is interaction. So when you are in a group, you facilitate the group. When you for a team, if you want to get better results, you have to have a teamwork. You should play a leadership and influencing role. You should have negotiation skill. You should have teaching skill. These are the 5 interaction skills you should have as a business analyst. Is it clear?
Yes, no doubt. Thank you.
Very good. Now we are getting into some other thing called tools and techniques. Another important thing for business analyst is tools and technology. You know the difference between technology, science and technology by any chance? Paula, by any chance you know what is science, what is technology?
I've heard the word many times, but I cannot really, I can't really define the
No problem, no problem. Just wanted to, because these are the intricacies. See, that makes a lot of difference. If you understand that, using that word becomes much easier. See, technology is something. Science gives you concepts. Science always tells sun rises in the east, sun gives heat to earth. So these are the concepts. Now technology is applying that concept. So sun rises in the east. So with that, I can get the directions for you. So depending on where the sun is, I can always tell which direction we are. So now, how does a compass work? Compass works on North Pole and South Pole. So your magnet attracts South Pole attracts North, North Pole attracts South. This is what science says. Based on that, compass has come. Compass is technology. That is application of science is technology. So science gives you concepts, application is technology. So application of technology gives you tools. So with that you generate the tools, generate different tools. Tools and technology makes you, if you are using different tools, then your job becomes much easier. So if you are like what you were mentioning earlier, old people, they resist. So if they resist any change, they are comfortable in their old ways of doing things. But if you are able to appreciate, if you are able to tell them how the tools and technology can benefit, and if that the other person is able to receive that, even to some extent, it need not be totally. There is nothing like they should accept you immediately. But even if they adapt to some level, that will definitely benefit. So the technology usage of technology. So you can walk and go to your office, but you are using technology and using, say, if you have got a metro, you go by metro to avoid traffic, or you use car to go to office, right? So these are all the benefits of technology that you are using. So you can walk and go to office. So the same way you can write a mail, snail mail. You can write in a paper, put it into postcard. That can go. When you got email, why do you need to write a snail mail? Write on a paper and post it. So email is much faster. So when you are able to call somebody and communicate, why do you need to write an email? So that's how you are applying the technology wherever it is required. And your with the technology, automatically your productivity will improve. So let us go through each of these technology and skills. Office productivity helps document and track information and artifacts. So if you have got office tools like it can be an application that you use for project management, or you've got the documents, collaborative documents like Excel, Word. See, nowadays all these documents are collaboratively available. Like Google Sheet is available. You can write something, other person can write something. Even you can put Microsoft Office tools like Word, Excel, all these things into SharePoint, such that you can collaboratively use it. So these are the ways people started using tools. 1 minute, some disturbance. So you can use tools collaboratively such that you will be able to work together. And you whatever you have documented, those documents should be in a common folder for others to access. So that is the office productivity. Suppose you're to do some work, you're written a document, and that document has to be uh, reviewed by someone else. So for you to write a document, take a printout, give it to that person. That person makes corrections. Those corrections you reincorporate. Again you print it. Again you take it. These are all productivity will be very low in such cases. So you write a document, you enable tracking, give it to the other person, he will make his changes. You are able to understand what was your initial version, what is the current, what are the modifications that the other person is expecting, make changes and submit your version 2 so that the other person is also able to go through what are the changes made and whether it is okay or not. If that all the points are acceptable, you commit it, you accept all the track changes, and then you get the final document. That makes your life much easier. How you use documents productively, how you improve your productivity using the technology. So that's why your tools and technologies help in office productivity. Business analysis helps model diagrams, document, and manage the output of business activities. So, in business analysis, if you are using applications which can help, like if you want to make a flow chart, you use IO diagrams, .io. Have you heard of this draw.io by any chance? Anytime? Fola? Draw.io. That is one tool. If you have time, you can go through draw.io. So they will allow you to prepare charts online itself. You can do flow charts. You can prepare all tools in Office tools also nowadays. In using PowerPoint also, you can prepare flow charts, or you can use the other different tools that are available. You can as well use for preparing the flow charts. But one tool that you can see is draw.io, where online you can prepare the charts. So next is communication.
I'm sorry,
Communication tools.
sorry, how do you spell that tool you just
DRAW, draw.io.
okay?
You got it? Draw.io. I'm just trying to put in chart.
Okay.
Draw.io. Any drawing tools for that matter you can use.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
So you can use those tools for making your flow charts and the document perfect. And the communication for office technology and tools you use for communication helps perform business analysis activities, manage teams, collaborate. That's what I was talking about, collaboration with stakeholders, everything. That is another skill, that is communicating skill. Communication, how do you do the communication? You need to have weekly meetings. So nowadays, all these virtual meetings are very helpful. So you just need to have meeting scheduled. That too, you can schedule a recurring meeting so that automatically you get alert and you will be able to attend the meeting. When you are doing the meeting, normally OneNote, if you are used Office, has got one tool called OneNote. OneNote is an important, very easy tool. When you are in the meeting, automatically, if you open that document, it opens all the who are the people who have attended the meeting. It gives you all that. Writing minutes of meeting is very easy if you are using OneNote tool. Have you heard of this OneNote?
Yes.
Yeah, you can use OneNote. If you are with me,
Yes.
if we okay, so now we have spoken about so many categories of competencies. One is analytical thinking and problem solving skills. There are 7. Behavioral characteristics 5. Business knowledge 5. Communication skills 4. Interaction skills 5. And tools and technology 3. So now analytical thinking and problem solving, we have got creative thinking, decision making, learning, problem solving, conceptual thinking, visual thinking, system thinking, 7 competencies. Behavioral characteristics, we have ethics, personal accountability, organization and time management, trustworthiness, adaptability. Business knowledge, we have got business acumen, industry knowledge, organization knowledge, solution knowledge, methodology knowledge. Communication skills, we have got verbal communication skills, non-verbal communication skills, written communication skills, listening. And then interaction skills, we have got facilitation, teamwork, leadership and influencing, negotiation skills, teaching skills. Tools and technology, we have got office productivity, business analysis, communication. And what are the techniques referred by BA-BAC, that is business analysis body of knowledge. Business analysis body of knowledge is BABAC rather, BA-BAC version 3. So there are 50 techniques that you have. There are 50 techniques that you can use. One is acceptance and evaluation criteria, backlog management, balanced scorecard. These are all the techniques that you use for business analysis. Just have a note of it. No need to go in depth of all these things. But any specific case you are interested, you can always go through. Benchmarking and market analysis, brainstorming, business capability analysis, business cases, business model canvas, business rule analysis, collaborative games, concept modeling, data dictionary, data flow diagrams, DFDs. These are also famous actually, data flow diagrams, data mining, data modeling, decision analysis, decision modeling, document analysis, estimation, financial analysis, focus groups, functional decomposition, glossary, interface analysis, interviews, item tracking, lessons learned, metrics and KPIs, mind mapping, non-functional requirement analysis, observation, organizational modeling, prioritization, process analysis, process modeling, prototyping, reviews, risk analysis and management, roles and permissions matrix, root cause analysis, scope modeling, the sequence diagrams, stakeholder list, map or personas, state modeling, survey or questionnaire, SWOT analysis, use cases and scenarios, user stories, vendor assessment, workshops. These are all the different techniques that you use for business analysis. You can pick up any of depending on your requirement. See, while eliciting requirements, you do brainstorming, you do interviews, you can have focus groups like that. So you pick up whatever you want for that particular purpose. Now, business analysis, there is something called perspectives. This topic we'll take it up tomorrow because it requires more time. We have got another 5-6 minutes. I think we can complete it. Let me just take this. So what are the perspectives? Perspective, you know the meaning of perspective, right? From your perspective or the other person's perspective, from their view, that is the perspective. From different views, that is the idea. Fola, any question on this perspective? So from your perspective, from some other person's perspective, how things would be. That's what we call it as perspective. Yes? Fola, are you there?
No, No question. Yes, I'm okay.
Yeah,
Thank
perspective. Okay. So perspective, business analysis, perspective when you're talking about from different points of view, from information technology perspective, from agile perspective, from business architecture perspective, from business process management perspective, from business intelligence perspective. These are all the perspectives from which you need to get the business analysis. So how technology should be, how if you are looking for agile way of making the change, how it should be, how business architecture should be, how process management should be, how business intelligence should be. Based on that, your analysis should be there. Your process analysis should be in that way. So let us go. Perspectives provide us focus to tasks and techniques specific to the context of an initiative. Perspectives are not mutually exclusive. Most initiatives are likely to engage one or more perspectives. BA Bach includes 5 perspectives. Please remember there are 5 perspectives as per BA Bach. So that's very important. What are the 5 perspectives? Let us see agile perspective. Agile is a mindset. Agile basically means you are very flexible. You are agile. You are quick to react. You are very say you can say very fast to react, very quick to react, and very flexible to react. Nimble, they say, no? Nimble. You are nimble. So this kind of thing is agile. An agile mindset should be there. Agile values and principles you should understand. And progressive elaboration of business planning, elicitation, analysis, design, and construction solutions. A business analyst is an active member of an agile team. Agile basically means you should have, why you need to have agile concept when you are doing business analysis? You should realize that your stakeholder may not be able to give you all the requirements at one sitting. You should understand that they may not be able to express all perspectives or all possibilities of a requirement. So they would only think from their perspective and they tell one statement as a requirement. You should be able to ask questions to get more details about that. You should be able to elaborate as the time goes. You should not think that you got all the requirements and now you're freezing. You are not allowing the stakeholder to give any more things. Please don't tell me anything else. It is like, so you're doing cooking. So in between, if somebody comes and says, I want this also, are you flexible or not? Is the question. So you are preparing something and your baby comes and says, I want some other thing. So at that time, are you flexible or not? It depends. Some people will say, don't ask me anything. Over. I have done my cooking. Now you cannot ask me anything. Some people will be flexible enough saying that, oh, that's all. I'll make it in 5 minutes and give it to you. So that is the agile mindset that you are looking at. So if you want to be flexible, what you should do? So if you have already thought of that, then it's not a pain for you. If you are not thought of it, if anybody asks you something in between, you suppose you're cooking. If someone else, your baby comes and asks something else, then you're disturbed. But if your mind is already prepared for that, you will be flexible enough. So that's the idea. You got it?
you. Yeah, question. So it says a business analyst is an active member of an
Mm.
agile team.
Agile team.
So with your business analyst certification, can you pick up a job, a position of a product owner?
In agile team.
Yes, we will. Can a
Yeah,
business
always.
analyst be the product owner?
Yeah. So you don't need to be agile certified to become a product owner. You can always become product owner. Product
Oh,
owner, that's right. You don't require a certification for that. So business analyst can
because
always
you
become
can
a
be a
product.
product owner. I can be a product owner with my BA certification. That's what you're saying.
Yes, you can. You can.
Mm.
You should have the knowledge of the product owner. So product owner means what? You know all the requirements from customer perspective.
Mm.
You are representing the customer in your team. That is what is product owner, right?
Yeah,
If you,
I have product owner certification, but I was just wondering, like, I could also be a product owner with my BA certification.
yes, you can become. You can.
Okay.
Now, The second perspective is the business intelligence. Business intelligence highlights the characteristics of business analysis in the context of transformation, integration, and enhancing data. Is the transformation of data into valuable information. Business intelligence basically means getting the data is one aspect, and how you transform the data and you present it in such a way that people understand. So I can have lots of text data that would have come in a table format, but I would not be able to understand anything. So by seeing that data, if you say that this is the data of population of one region, and this population contains people below 35 years, so much percentage. That means this population indicates this population is young generation. It has more young generation, so they are more working population. It's not like they are aged population. So that gives some kind of information for you. Business intelligence is that not getting the data alone, data transforming the data into meaningful way so that people can comprehend. So that also you should have an idea when you are actually when you are a business analyst. So when you are doing business analysis, what kind of business intelligence requirements you should take is also an important thing. Now, information technology
Sorry,
perspective.
can you give us examples of software that are out there for business intelligence?
Business intelligence, have you anytime seen Tableau or something like that?
Okay,
Tableau,
Tableau. Okay, Tableau.
Microsoft Power, what is that? Power, uh,
Power BI.
Power BI. I stopped at Power. What is? Sorry, thank you for that. Microsoft Power BI. Power BI also is the tool which presents dashboards. What do? They collate all the data. Collate all the data basically means, see, if you are putting for years of data, if you have normal applications, will show you representation for the current day or current month, something like that. So this shows you intelligence dashboards will show you aggregated data. They aggregate the data over the years. They'll show you the trends, what is happening. So take a couple of parameters and show the trend. Suppose you are checking for your. I'm not saying you have BP issue or anything. Suppose you are checking your BP or hemoglobin. If you are checking your hemoglobin, you check a reading now. You check after 1 year. If somebody gives you a trend saying that your hemoglobin is increasing or decreasing, so you will have an idea what is happening. So over the period, if your hemoglobin is increasing, you can relate it to the diet that you have and the your habits that you have, your discipline that you have, how you are. Because if it is in a good trend, you can always compare to what has happened. If it is a bad trend also, you can always compare to what went wrong. So that's how it is. So if you are able to present it in such a way, in graphical format or as a dashboards, so then you get more information and you will be able to analyze. That's what is called business intelligence. So whether the company is making profit or not over the period, on which if you have tool, suppose the hospital has got MRIs, CTs, so they can always look at my MRI department making profit or not, is my CT department making profit or not. So like that they see which doctor is giving me more revenue. So these things they'll see. Got it?
Yes, I have one more question. Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
For BI, in which of the knowledge areas will BI be very useful? Is that requirement analysis and design definition, or I'm just trying to know, or is that strategy analysis?
Yeah, for almost all knowledge areas, let me just pick you the knowledge areas and suggest. See now, business when you are business analysis, while you are planning, also you should plan for business intelligence. How they want their requirements. So how you want to collect that requirements for when you are collecting the requirements, how you present the business intelligence to them. If you have idea you plan accordingly. So what kind of reports you require, what kind of data you want to see, all that you will collect in the beginning itself. You plan to collect such requirements. Elicitation and collaboration. When you are eliciting the requirements also, you should have that knowledge. And strategy, definitely you need to have. Requirement life cycle. So when do you call your requirement is completed? So that if you have got that, there also you can have whether you need to provide business intelligence for that, then only you are calling as the requirement is completed, or by just giving a software, in the software, if that requirement is completed and they are using it, do you call it as completed? So at every stage, you can as well look at it. When you are doing solution evaluation also, you need to have business intelligence knowledge. So that's the idea. So from that perspective, you need to think. See, we are saying business intelligence perspective, you have to think what requirements you require. So how you need to collect the data, how you need to collect the requirements. See, business analyst job, that is the business intelligence, what we are talking about is a perspective. You understand that statement, Fola? Perspective. From that perspective, you need to think. See, what we are saying here is from agile perspective. If you want to be agile, so what? How do you take the requirements? When you're talking, you being in agile, you should think in agile way. If you are thinking in agile way, what you think? You think that customer cannot give all the requirement at one shot. So when you are planning, you will plan. Okay, it's not one shot. I need to sit. I need to plan for multiple sittings. You got my point?
Yes.
Your relation is very good. How do you relate it to the knowledge area? So when you are planning, you need to plan for agile. When you are taking your strategy, you need to plan for agile, like that. At every knowledge area, you need to implement this perspective also. Perspective is different way of looking at it. Now, information technology, when I say, when you are using the tool, when you are thinking of providing software, how do you look at it? So from software perspective, how do you need to plan business analysis? That's the idea. The same way, business architecture perspective, how do you want to collect your requirements, analysis you want to do, and business process. We'll review this more tomorrow again. So more or less we are done with this. We'll review it once more and take it forward. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any specific questions? Thank you. Thank you. Ify, you're there?
I'm here.
Okay. So we'll review these perspectives tomorrow once more and close that. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Ify.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right. Good night.
Okay.
Have a
Good night.
nice day. If all, good night.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.